Well, welcome everybody. My name is Michele McCay, and I am calling in from Oxford, Mississippi. And we are so excited that y'all joined us. We know we have a host of customers, or we call you guys our droppers, and a lot of brand partners who brought you on this call. And I am telling you, you're going to have a blessed night by listening to these amazing experts that we brought on tonight to tell you why you need these drops and for your freedom. So you're going to understand what I mean by freedom in just a few moments. And let me tell you what I mean by freedom. Being on these drops and all these amazing products have given me the freedom to just absolutely have peace in knowing that I don't have Alzheimer's. So I had brain fog to such an extent that I truly convinced myself that I had Alzheimer's. Okay. My mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 55 and passed away at 62. And I tell you, when the brain fog hit me the first time, I've never known such panic in my whole life. Never knew. And I tell you, after doctors diagnosed me with ADD and prescribed Wellbutrin, and then the brain fog came back, and then we started hormone replacement therapy. Brain fog was gone for a short period of time. It still came back. And a 14-year journey with brain fog and afraid that I had Alzheimer's finally ended with a product that amazing Cynthia Bolden recommended for me. And I got started with a product called Renew. So something totally different that we're not talking about tonight. But Renew is my hero product because the brain fog was gone in 3 days. But what I found with Renew is all of my menopause symptoms went away with this product. Not just brain fog, but also hot flashes, night sweats, and my muscle mass was coming back. So when Cynthia Bolden recommended skinny drops to me about 6 months later, I was like, are you serious? Do you think I need to lose more weight? She said, no, you talked about wanting to come off your hormone replacement therapy, so let's give it a shot. So y'all, 6 weeks later, I had lost 3 pounds and 5 inches around my belly. And if you know me, I'm a competitive tennis player, and I could have played tennis until I passed out and still would never lose the belly fat. But what was happening in my body is I had insulin resistance. And the biggest key to what I want to say tonight is top researchers are now telling us that insulin resistance in the brain, or type 3 diabetes, is the cause, or the leading cause, of Alzheimer's. So now that you know my story and know why it's so important to get rid of insulin resistance in your body, we know these drops can help you correct insulin resistance. So not only do they help you with your hormone balance, but also correct the insulin resistance. And I know that that is not only the precursor to Alzheimer's, but inflammation, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, all those major illnesses that we are trying to prevent in our bodies, right? So that's freedom for me, that I have freedom from Alzheimer's or any of these diseases, that I know that because of what I'm putting in my body, I am preventing those diseases and giving myself greater quality of life. Let me introduce you to Todd Rowland, who is an amazing nutritionist. I'm going to give you a little bit more science on the drops. Me as a nurse, you'd think you'd get the science from me, but I wanted you to hear my personal story, because that's what's important to me, is why insulin resistance, I feel, has to be corrected in the body. But I want Todd to tell you from the clinical background why you need these drops and what freedoms you need. Todd, take it away. Oh, wait, Todd, you're still muted.
So I'm so excited to be here with Cynthia again. She is the clinical expert. Cynthia and I both have nutrition backgrounds. Mine's a little different. Cynthia's been in just nutrition practice with the general public for 30 years. She's got her own store. My background is I was more on the athletic performance side. That's where my master's degree lied, with athletic performance, kinesiology, and nutrition. But after leaving the sports world and getting into this full time, I have learned a ton the last decade on a lot of the lifestyle issues and a lot of what all the longevity doctors are now saying. And Michele, you just hit one of the biggest things, and that is the epidemic of elevated blood sugar in our society. Whether we call it insulin insensitivity, whether we call it metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, all of those are precursors to the infamous type 2 diabetes. And, it's been well documented for years that if you're sentenced with type 2 diabetes, it's really all nothing short of a death sentence. I mean, if you have type 2 diabetes, elevated risk of all cause mortality is through the roof. But what we're learning now is that long before you're type 2 diabetic, when you just have the metabolic syndrome, the insulin sensitivity, you're not even to the pre-diabetic scale, the same increases in bad events occurring in your life are occurring. And according to a lot of our doctors, anywhere between 10 and 25 times more likely to have a cardiovascular event, be diagnosed with cancer or other issues, to include neuropathy of the feet, sores, you name it, all the things that come with elevated blood sugar for a period of time. And then, Michele, you just mentioned it with your mom. There's lots of, unanswered questions on the Alzheimer's situation. However, a lot of the longevity doctors now, the top doctors out there in the research field, are calling that type 3 diabetes. So that being said, if it was easy to break the sugar addiction, we would all just do it. We know it's not good for us. So like, to keep this on its most simplest form, these drops, bottle 1, the clear one, has 12 ingredients. Bottle 2 has about another half dozen. And they work in formulation to give you enormous decision-making ability compared to not taking the drops. And time-wise, I may not go into all the reasons why, but basically with the thyroid coming into balance, helping to balance pancreas and insulin secretion, some detoxification that's occurring, and a lot of other things going on balancing hormones, the body gets you it kind of comes into a balance that gives you your best chance to say no to all the things we all know. You do not need to be Cynthia or Todd or Michele to know what to eat. We all know what's bad for us, but we eat it all day. I always say we drive our gasoline car right into the gas station and we fill it slam full of diesel, and we wonder why we break down. And the answer is we do it daily. The human body is so much better than a car is. You put the wrong gas in a car, it breaks down that day. The body will compensate. So when we're young, we'll overcome a lot. We will start gaining weight. That's the first sign that I have elevated blood sugar, because I'm storing fat all the time. I'm not burning through the glucose and glycogen in my body. But as we get into our upper 30s, then into our 40s, then into our 50s, we start being diagnosed with these chronic conditions, whether it's Hashimoto's, low thyroid, bad thyroid, hormones completely out of balance, gaining uncontrollable weight, not sleeping good, night sweats, no energy. All of those things are all results of this diesel we're putting in our gasoline engines nonstop. So tonight, the last time we were on here, I went through some of the exact science. So I'm just going to say this and turn it to Cynthia. When those drops go underneath your tongue 3 times a day, and the semi-legal absorption occurs with those clear drops, a lot of the uncontrollable desires begin to leave your body on around day 3, 4, or 5. Everybody's a little different. If you make the decision to go to the approved food list, which is a low glycemic food index list that is written by the top type diabetic doctor in the world who's came up with the glycemic food index. If you don't know what that is, just Google it. That's what we are at Skinny Drops or Body Balancing Drops, whatever you call them. We eat foods that have fiber, no simple sugars, and no simple carbs. We need fiber attached. That's what makes the glycemic food index. A gram of fiber cancels out a gram of simple sugar or simple carbs. So if you go to that food list and you start eating from it and you don't cheat, especially with liquid sugar is the death sentence. I don't care if it's sweet tea. I don't care if it's Gatorade. I don't care if it's Powerade. I don't care if it's orange juice, apple juice, grape juice. If it is liquid and sugar and no fiber attached, you are spiking your blood sugar uncontrollably. And at some point, you're going to develop insulin insensitivity unless you're already in the 70% of Americans that have already got it. And half of them don't realize they got it. And all these bad conditions are going on inside the body, create more inflammation and lots of breeding ground for disease. So that alone is worth taking the drops. And that red bottle starts going underneath the tongue. And that starts elevating the B12. We get the ashwagandha in there. The rhodiola starts limiting some cortisol secretion, which is another stress hormone. And that red bottle is the reason that a lot of times, especially women, will feel better day one. Like they feel better the next morning when they wake up. those women generally showed up here low in B12s. That's something we can move the needle on fairly quickly. And B12, look it up yourself. The good form of B12, methylated form, is what we need to raise our energy level, raise our metabolism, better our mood, stabilize our mood. B12 is such a regulator of all that, and so many of us are low in it. So anyway, that being said, Cynthia, I'm going to flip it to you.
Okay, unmute Cynthia. I need you to unmute.
I'm muted tonight. Okay. All right. Well, hello to everyone. And it's almost like I'm sitting here thinking, wow, Todd, is it not an honor to be on here with Todd and Michele? He's awesome at his presentation. Michelle's story is awesome. And what I love so much about it is how we kind of do this I kind of call it the three wheel, because my take is everything Michele said to help people get it in the hands of millions. Everything Todd says about how bottle one and bottle two works. And I just want to add one thing on bottle two. You was talking about the vitamin B12. And, we hear so many times in our world, more ladies than men, we hear about our adrenal glands, those stress glands. We hear about, oh, they so wore out. And it's amazing to me that we only hear about it when it's a problem. And if you want to see some healthy adrenal glands, then you want some B12, the right methylated B12 going in. I see Todd taking his drops now. Way to go. Okay.
Double up when I hear you talk.
There you go. There you go. There you go. And so it's so important because we need those adrenal glands. And for women, just want you to know at that 40, 50, 60 mark, you want those because usually they're worn out. We don't want them to get it that way, but you're going to have more menopause symptoms if your adrenals are shot. So to me, it's like when we ask the question, why take the drops? Now my thing is, why not take the drops? So we all know that we usually take them because people see the pictures, the weight loss, and it is so good. But guess what? Weight loss is really stemming from and coming from a body that's balanced, which what equals a side effect. So you think about things being in balance, weight loss is a plus. So I like to say when a person say, oh, Cynthia, I've only lost 2 pounds. Oh, Cynthia, I don't know if it's working. And my thing is, so how did you sleep? Are you feeling a little better? Do you have pep in your step? When I ask those questions and we start getting a yes, then guess what? I get really excited and I scream out loud and say, wow, your body is really working. Your body is smart. It's going to go back and start its repair work. We didn't say fix, repair. I always like to say, feed it, don't fix it, feed it. And we had these wonderful drops with a yes list that we can do this with. And then a person gets the opportunity to be like, wow, my body really wants to do me good. And when you have that in your mind and the tools to get it done, I like what Todd just said about the car, when you put right things in, I like to say, put right in, get right out. So this is something as we move into the 4th of July, Todd just made me think about that B12, but I actually have a book in my hand, but I wrote something down and I did not want to miss a word, but I want you to really hear this because if you notice the flyer, it talked about freedom. How exciting it is that we can be free in our body with the tools that we need to have to cause that to be. So I want you to listen to this. This is a little Cynthia paraphrase in here. So I want you to hear it. I almost got, just thinking about it, I'm personally getting excited, but listen carefully. And I am going to read something and add a little something to it. But I believe it's really that important for customers that's on the line, brand partners to say, wait a minute, this is my body and I get to do something about it. I get to feed it good nutrition with a guide along with the drops to bring my body in balance. How blessed is that? How fortunate are we to have that? So listen to this. We who live in the land of plenty boast freedom. Okay, we're going into the 4th of July, so think. And truly, we are free to choose health or to live our life by default. Which one will it be? We never intended to live in a toxic world. That wasn't the intent. We never certainly didn't plan to form harmful habits. You don't wake up in the middle of the night and say, I'm just going to form some unhealthy habits. That's just not our thinking. And then it goes on to say, we just got busy or stressed out. Our budgets and schedules are tight, and the quality of our food is first compromised. The next thing goes into this compromise is less activity. And soon after that, hours of sleep are cut short. You know, your sleep is even a healing cycle in that. So listen to this. After years of daily choices, one day, maybe in a doctor's office, not because you tried, but maybe because we missed the signs, we will discover the forbearing truth that once this has happened and we're not bringing our bodies into balance or using tools and great products to do this, then we might discover, which we don't want to get this way, that we may be no longer free. And I think that we should make a demand on the fact and get excited as we go into our freedom and celebrating this 4th of July. Also celebrate the fact that we can be free and be free by using tools that's been placed for us, having the opportunity to go share with millions of people. The reason my story and why I'm here also is the fact that I do believe it's an answered prayer. What gets me excited, what gets me going is somebody prayed for an answer, and all of us get to be a part as we choose to be an answer to somebody's prayer. And that is what I really call true freedom, to be the answer to help people, ourselves, our family, our country, our nation, and then to have the exact tool and a company that would back us all the way. And also with phenomenal people like you, Michele and Todd, that really puts it out there and just tell us why we should be taking these drops. Back to you, Michele.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Thank y'all both so much. And if you're on this call as a customer or a brand partner or whoever you are, thank goodness you have these drops for whatever your goal may be. Mine was hormone balance and to prevent or correct the insulin resistance, to get that fear of Alzheimer's out of my life and to experience that freedom. But y'all, the greatest freedom for me is I couldn't help my mom. Sorry, I can't hardly talk about it. I couldn't help my mom 28 years ago, but I can sure help you. And I can help everybody else. If I get you successful on these drops, then guess what? You're going to help my mission of getting these drops in the hands of millions, because you're going to tell your friends too. Because listen to all the diseases that Todd and Cynthia just said we're going to prevent. When have we ever had the freedom to prevent such diseases in our lives, y'all? When have we ever had the freedom to fix our body, not just fix our bodies, but feed our bodies with great cellular nutrition and give ourselves a chance to have the greatest quality of life that we can ever have? So if you're on this call, go ahead, Todd.
Michelle's going to say the only people that ever condemn a healthy diet, eating correctly and taking nutritional products, are very unhealthy people who don't, that are using that still as an excuse not to change for the better. So more important than just the drops, the approved food list, the accompanying nutrition, is we are a community of people supporting each other, because healthy lifestyle is not a decision. It's like 50 decisions a day for the rest of your life. Like, you are tempted all day, every day, commercials, billboards, driving past fast food restaurants, walking in the gas station, and everything in the cooler on the shelf, slam full of sugar, really bad for you. There's nothing to buy in there. Really, I mean, maybe some of the newer, bigger gas stations have a little fruit area in the middle, but most of them have zero healthy choices. And the thing that Cynthia just read, talking about how busy we are managing our money, all of those are factors. If you ever really get to studying this, as Cynthia and I have, you'll notice that lower income areas are always heavier. Why? Because they're buying food at the dollar store and Walmart. And if it's in a bag or a box and it's cheap, it's really bad for you. It's going to cause problems in your body. So if you don't know that, you now do. Like, you are self-inducing, especially what we call the lifestyle diseases, by the decisions we make going in the mouth. So going back to the question Michele asked in the beginning, why do we take the drops? Because it makes the right decision a million times easier. Even for people like Cynthia and I that know this like the back of our hand, we still have to have the discipline every day to make the right choices, and the drops help us do that.
Yeah.
And y'all, I'm the first to tell you, I didn't have a whole lot of weight to lose, but I was a sugar addict. And Todd, isn't sugar more addicting than cocaine?
According to the top neurologist out there that wrote Bright Line Eating, it's significantly more addicting. And go look that up. Google Bright Line Eating, and
Yes.
you'll see the research this neurologist has on it.
Yes. So I was addicted to sugar. So that was what caused the issues with my brain fog and other things that were going on. But same thing for my mom 29 years ago. If I'd have just known, if I had had these drops and had these products to introduce to my mom, y'all, I would have kicked heaven's door wide open to help her do that, right? So we're telling you all of this, y'all, because you as a customer, you have options. So if you've not been successful on the drops yet, we're giving you every reason why to give it another shot and why you want to be successful on these drops. And I'm not just being selfish by saying we want you sharing with everybody in the world and millions all over the world. We do want you sharing, but that's not just out of selfishness, but to be able to help other people in their lives. So you have three options, okay? So number one, you can continue to get these drops from the person who brought you on this call. You can get retail. You need another box and want to buy retail and want to pay the biggest price? Number one's your answer. I wouldn't go that route though. Number two, you can save on your drops, and whoever invited you on this call can give you the options for saving on your drops, because if we're going to get them in the hands of millions, by doggone, I want you to have the greatest discount. But number three would be my choice, and it was my choice. If I want to save you some money on the drops, I also want you to earn money off the drops. So if I'm asking you to get them in the hands of millions, we're willing to pay you to get them in the hands of millions, right? So 1, 2, 3, get back with the person who brought you on this call. Tell them what your answer is. Which one do you want? I pray you're going to choose 2 or 3, okay? Because we want these drops truly in the hands of millions. Thank y'all for being on this call. That is your call to action. If you are a customer, get back to the person who brought you on the call. If you are a brand partner, your call to action is reach out to every single person, customer you brought on this call, and ask them what their answer is. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Susan Frank, for giving us that idea, making it as simple as possible. Love you guys and want you to experience the freedom that only life and health can give you right now. Y'all have a great night. Thank y'all.